gonna talk about 7 of the top agricultural products to export from Vietnam. Before we get into it, if you want to source products from Vietnam such as textile, garments, furniture, eco-friendly products or food-related products, you can check below in the description. You will get some information and resources to get started into sourcing products from Vietnam. We help you from connecting you to the right and trustworthy manufacturer or producer in Vietnam, doing QC as well as helping you into preparing your shipments to your country. So you may know or not, but Vietnam is actually a very good producer of different vegetables, fruits and nuts as well. So if you are, for instance, sourcing cashew nuts, pepper, rice, dry fruits, seafood as well, that's the type of expo you should go, just because you can directly connect to local producers and manufacturers, and that's really how you should, I guess, get started, so you won't have any language barrier to have a first connection with them. So we're gonna check them out with Vin today. Now let's jump into the 7 agricultural products that you can export from Vietnam. The first product is cashew nuts. The world demand for nuts and nut-based goods is rising as the result of the global trends that prefer plant-based diets and alternative protein sources. In Asia, cashews are a key component of many different sweet and savory meals. China is the region's top cashew nut importer. Cashew nut consumption is rising in Europe as a result because of new consumer health consciousness. They are now more frequently used as a component in recipes and snacks. If you are currently importing nuts, you can consider Vietnamese cashew nuts, since it has been one of the main agricultural products to export for so many years. With more than 50% of the world processed cashew nut raw materials, Vietnam has emerged as the leading cashew nut processing hub and the largest exporter for cashew nuts. Vietnam is characterized by a tropical monsoon environment which provides natural benefits for cashew farming. The EVFTA and other free trade agreements are helping Vietnamese cashew exporters increase their supplies to important and developing European markets. Among Vietnam's top 10 cashew export customers at the moment are countries in the European nations such as the Netherlands, Germany, the United Kingdom and Italy. Therefore, to increase exports to these regions, the Vietnamese cashew industry must capitalize on the benefits of a new generation of free trade agreements. With Vietnam's agricultural system and manufacturing potential remain constrained, agricultural firms in Vietnam need investment capital, better organic farming techniques, and quality control to increase productivity and product quality. Now, the second type of product is coffee. There is an increasing demand for Vietnamese coffee worldwide because the commodity market has declined since 2012. Vietnamese farmers have had to find alternatives by concentrating on the quality of their coffee. As a result, quality has greatly increased and is continuing over the last years. This fact actually did surprise a lot of people, as Vietnam was well known for low quality coffee production, aka Robusta coffee beans, but moving toward Arabica as well as premium Robusta coffee. As the second largest coffee producer in the world is Vietnam, and due to the plentiful supply, free trade agreements are giving Vietnamese coffee a competitive advantage, anticipating high export margin which can still predict growth in the upcoming years. And according to Chan Kong Thang, vice chairman of the Vietnam Coffee Coordination Board, instead of increasing quantity or expanding production areas, the government of Vietnam has tried to focus more on growing quality, improving the processing sector, and encouraging more sustainable methods of production. The key to increasing export earnings has been creating Vietnamese coffee enterprises abroad in addition to improving growing and processing methods. Famous Vietnamese coffee chains like King Coffee or Phuc Lam announced the opening of more than 100 coffee shops in the US this year. Vietnamese coffee perception is nowadays different from a couple of years ago thanks to more and more branding and foreign consumer interest in discovering Vietnamese coffee, which is now able to meet the Western standards. With the advantages of free trade agreements, Vietnamese coffee brands and trading for processed coffee in foreign markets will continue to grow in the next upcoming years. Now, the third type of agricultural product that you can export from Vietnam, this is paper. One of the Vietnam's major industry and significant contributor to its economy is the export of Vietnamese paper. Vietnam is currently the world leading paper grower, contributing 40% of the world total production and exporting to 110 countries so far. In 10 years, Vietnam's export of paper has surpassed other producing nations like Brazil, India, and Indonesia, taking the top rank and accounting for about 2/3 of the total volume of paper exported worldwide. On the other hand, the quality of Vietnamese paper exports has steadily improved and the export category progressively transitioned from a raw export to a high processed export thanks to the increased ability of processing food Vietnam got during the last decade. Due to the government's aid in signing the EVFTA, business relations between Vietnam and Europe have improved. Black pepper export prices have dropped significantly as the result of a 99% reduction in the export duty, providing the nation a competitive price advantage over other paper exporting nations. Vietnamese pepper is firm and aromatic due to the fertile basalt soil and the high quality of the harvest as the result of intercropping of pepper and coffee. In addition, pepper is naturally sun-dried to a moisture content of 13% without the use of any chemical. Finally, to ensure that paper is suitable for export and complies with all international regulations, producers carefully remove low-quality seeds to make it competitive on the global market. As a reminder, if you wish to source such agricultural products from Vietnam, such as coffee, cashew nuts, or paper, you can check below in the description. You will get few links and resources as well as our contact page. You can drop us a message, your product research, your MOQ, and the country you are expecting to export such agricultural products, and then we can help you to get started. Now, the fourth type of agricultural product that you can export from Vietnam is actually dried fruits. One of the best countries to find tropical fruits is actually Vietnam. The flavor of various fruits, which can be occasionally sweet or sour, are very tasty here, and that's the reason we find Vietnam-made fruits such as dragon fruit, mango, mangosteen, passion fruits often imported to Europe in grocery stores, supermarkets, or even street markets. Vietnam is famous for manufacturing, processing, and exporting dried fruits such as mango, passion fruit, jackfruit, soursop, dragon fruit, papaya, or avocado. Dry fruits have high levels of fiber, vitamins, and can be eaten as healthy snacks for both adults and children, as it can be easily taken out, eat anywhere at any time. Vietnam-made dry fruits are usually high quality because they are processed from fresh fruit but still with a competitive price. The drying process will remove most of the original water. The nutriments will be concentrated with a low moisture level that will help the products to last for a long time. Now we come to the fifth type of agricultural product that you can export from Vietnam. It's about cassia, also called cinnamon. The most valuable tree in terms of forest products is the cassia, particularly for export. In Yên Bai, Quang Nam and Quang Ninh, ethnic minorities rely heavily on the sales of cassia. In Vietnam, large leaf and small leaf cassia are the two most common varieties. The first one has large leaves, thin skin and little oil. Small leaf cassia, on the other hand, have thicker skin and more oil. One of the cinnamon species, Vietnamese cassia, is thought to have the strongest scent. Vietnamese cassia powder has a very high oil content of 4 to 6%, which contributes to its exceptional and distinctive flavor. In the US, bakers and chefs are usually choosing Vietnamese cassia as it allows the flavor to come thoroughly permeate their baked goods, giving them a nuanced flavor thanks to its higher oil content. The two main cinnamon products are the skin and oil. The majority of these cassia products are usually in variety of sectors, including food, flavor, healthcare, and animal feed. Using essential oils in place of chemical is becoming more and more popular. Cinnamon exports come from 3 nations: Vietnam, Indonesia, and Sri Lanka. However, Vietnamese cassia has traits that set it apart from the other nations. In Bangladesh and India, split cassia from Vietnam is highly well-liked, and in the US and Europe, thick cassia and finger cassia are equally well-liked as they are in Vietnam. Now we come to the 6th type of food that you can export from Vietnam is actually processed food. According to Data Monitor study, Vietnam's market for prepared food has recently shown strong development. Market share of all types of canned meat is 50%, canned fish is second with 28%, and tinned fruits, vegetables and tubers are third with about 20% of market share. And because Vietnam has a young population living in large cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, it is a favorable environment for the growth of ready-made food production businesses. By 2025, it is anticipated that processed meat would have about half of the daily meals consumed by Vietnamese consumers. The demand at this time will be 5 times bigger than the current production for up to 2.5 million tons of processed beef products annually. As mentioned earlier, the growth of the processing food market has been massive, and Vietnam is now a significant commercial partner for the US, China, Japan, and South Korea, exporting agricultural, aquatic, and processed goods to more than 190 nations and territories. On the other hand, due to its strong development potential, Vietnam is a nation with many foreign direct investment businesses. As processing food is a competitive industry, local businesses must innovate, upgrade their technology, implement digital transformation, product traceability, increase labor productivity, boost product value, and incorporate the foreign culture into the locally made products to meet the demand of exporting markets. By doing so, foreign entrepreneurs can find suitable food processing products and companies to partner with, looking to export and conquer new foreign markets. Vietnam also wants to incorporate and be a suitable land for wide range businesses to trade, connect, and expand. If you wish to understand those markets, connect with local manufacturers, producers, a few trade production events are happening in Vietnam yearly. As examples, you can have a look at the International Exhibition on Food and Beverage, Viet Food and Beverage, and the International Exhibition on Food Processing, Packaging Technology and Equipment. It's called ProPac Vietnam. The Vietnam Association of Beer, Wine and Beverage and the Food and Foodstuff Association of Ho Chi Minh City are usually partners in the organization of this exhibition, and they can also be a point of contact if you wish to connect to local players. Now we come to the seventh and last agricultural products that you can export from Vietnam, and this is actually everything related to seafood. The fishing industry is a significant part of Vietnam economy as the country has a tropical weather and a very long coastal sea. Its geographical location and surrounding environment are very favorable to the production of fisheries. Currently, the majority of seafood products are used for export, despite the fact that local demand for seafood items is rising. Vietnamese seafood exports go to 164 different destinations, and the sector provides more than 4.5 million jobs. Vietnam has a very cheap operating cost, including low labor and energy expenditures. The minimum salary for blue-collar workers in manufacturing regions of Vietnam is $200 up to $250 per month, which is lower than the minimum wage in China and in other Southeastern Asian nations. It does create favorable working conditions for labor-intensive industries requiring manual tasks. Vietnamese seafood businesses have seized opportunities to increase export in 2023 thanks to the free trade agreements and increase of foreign demand. Seafood exports from Vietnam primarily consist of shrimp, striped catfish, balsa fish, and hard clams. The US, EU, Russia, Japan, China, and South Korea are the top export destinations for Vietnamese seafood. With 23% of all Vietnamese seafood export, the US has been the largest consumer of Vietnamese seafood, with more than half of the production of tuna, and the second largest importer of pangasius after China. Shrimp, clams, tuna, and squid were the products that gained the most from the EVFTA tariff cut when these trade agreements went into effect. Vietnam is the second largest supplier market in Asia after China for the EU and the ASEAN regions. Vietnam will therefore have a significant advantage during the next few years over other competitors in the European markets thanks to the abolition of taxes on seafood exports from Vietnam. During the years 2022 up to 2040, the EVFTA is anticipated to aid Vietnam's seafood export market in expanding by roughly 2% annually. So here is for the 7 top agricultural products that you can export from Vietnam. Let me summarize them. We have cashew nuts, coffee, pepper, dry fruits, cassia, also called cinnamon, processed food, and finally seafood. If you are interested into learning more about that and exporting such agricultural products from Vietnam, definitely reach us out and drop us your inquiry, the MOQ you are willing to export from Vietnam, the country of destination you wish to import those products, and we can help you to connect you to reliable and trustworthy producers. If you have any question related to the 7 agricultural products we discussed today or any other food related products that can be done in Vietnam, you can also comment below in the comment section. We will read all your questions and answer them fast. If you enjoy the video, leave a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.
Down and I'ma get it right, then I'll sight like